Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is the second part of this four-part thingy. So I wanted to add this last time, but my computer was not working right, so I couldn't. But it's very hard to make videos on shows. It's very hard to find good footage for all of this, so please bear with me, because I know last video there was a lot of repeated footage, and then this video there will probably be even more repeated footage, so just bear with me. Anyway, this is seasons 2 and 3 of Trollhunters. So, the story in this season is actually pretty good. So, the second season is basically about Jim going into the Darklands to try to save all of the little children that got switched out by trolls. Which, it's kind of weird, but it's okay. So, for the first 5 or 6 episodes of this season, he's in the Darklands trying to survive while his friends try to cover for him in the real world. Then he returns, and everything is kind of weird. And part of what is so big about this is the fact that he didn't tell anyone he was going into the Darklands, and he comes back, and now all of the leaders of Trollkind have come together and are talking about what to do with Jim because he's a bad boy. But the real problem is that one of the people is an imposter. Dun dun dun. It's this lady. It's the Gum Gum lady. Obviously, because she is a Gum Gum and the bad guy is also a Gum Gum. So they're both the Gumdrop people and they're the bad guys. So basically, the whole point is that this is just Revenge of the Sith, or at least what he wanted Revenge of the Sith to be. The whole is crumbling from the inside out, and the whole time Jim is getting told to do random crap, and by the end of the season, the bad guy has taken over the entirety of Troll Market, which is where the good trolls are. And now they're on the run. Then the third season is about, a lot of nothing happens. There's a lot of just waiting around for stuff to happen, other than Claire getting taken over by Morgana, which I just want to talk about that real quick. Claire is the best in this season because she literally has a rival with a supreme sorceress. Literally, she is a 15-year-old girl that knows a single spell, one spell, and she thinks she's as powerful as a sorceress who is, like, more powerful than Merlin, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, that's something we'll talk about later. Anyway, so yeah, Claire is pretty cool in this season. She basically has to fight against Morgana. I don't know what she wanted to do with Claire. I actually am not sure. I think they just wanted to have a slave. And then at the end, there's a big battle for the fate of the universe, and the bad guys are trying to make night eternal. It's pretty good, but the real good writing comes with the characters in this season more than the, actual story. Because this show is a lot more about the characters than the story. It's got a lot of really good lore, but I feel like it's always been about the characters. So, moving on. Jim is the best he ever is in this season, and it's because they actually started writing him really well. So the episode that everyone talks about when they talk about Jim is always Unbecoming, which is basically the counter episode to the entirety of the show at this point. The point of this episode is that he is given a chance to go back and see what life would have been like if he hadn't picked up the amulet. And he decides that this would be a good thing. He is told that if he does this, he can't come back unless he has the amulet. So he goes back in time and he does not pick up the amulet. No one picks up the amulet. And eventually the Gum Gums come in where they would have at the middle of the first season. They come and he realizes that he has to be the Trollhunter, and it's really important for Jim. It really helps Jim realize that him being the Trollhunter is important. It is his destiny. It is his duty. It's not a Spider-Man. It just depends on who picks up the amulet. He has to be the Trollhunter. If anyone else is the Trollhunter, then the world's gonna end. Which is something that I'll go over in another video because they completely forgot about this episode in the finale. So I'll get to that in another video. But that's one of the episodes that is probably the best episode, but it's not my favorite. My favorite will get its own section here in this video. But I do want to talk about another episode that I really like, Into the Darklands, or whatever that first episode is called. These episodes in the Darklands are awesome. He's just Jim doing cool stuff, and he has to fight a dude called Skull Crusher, and he finds this changeling lady that was one of the bad guys in an earlier season, and they team up, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty intense. It's probably the most intense part of this entire series because Jim is way in over his head, and he realizes this, but he still has to survive. And then, to me, my favorite episode with Jim is the episode where he becomes a troll. So, spoiler alert, but Jim becomes a troll, which honestly to me is way more of a sacrifice than dying. Because in this series, it has already been established that death can be reversed. That, Arg died, but then he came back to life because, well, the magic of tears, I guess. I really don't understand how that one worked. But, a lot of people have already come back to life before here. And more people will come back to life after this. Don't you worry. So, death is not a really good sacrifice for Jim. So, how do you make a sacrifice? Well, you turn him into a troll. Now, at first glance, it's like, what do you mean? This is way cooler. Now he is like invincible, and he's mega strong, and he's fast, and he's got super cool reflexes. But then you forget that now he can't eat normal food, he can't fit into his own house, and he also can't be out in the sun, which is a huge sacrifice. Now he has to completely leave behind his old life because he is now a troll. And that is a really cool sacrifice. Like, so smart. Big brain, guys. And it's a really good episode, too. I mean, it's a really intense moment when they realize that he's turning himself into a troll, all the other characters, because they try to stop him. Also, it's like there's this really cool moment while he's turning into a troll where he's basically just floating in inky blackness, and he's just like leaving the world basically, and then he comes back and he's a troll. It's cool, and it's like a really sad episode. Guys, just watch this show. It's so good. Penny Lane, there is a barber showing photographs. So this season obviously has some new people in it. Wow! Most of these new characters are not really that important. I probably missed some new characters, and if I did, it's because I don't remember them, because I haven't watched this show in a while, because there's a lot of stuff I had to watch after this. So please bear with me. But Merlin! Yeah! Merlin is Merlin. He's pretty funny, and he's cool, and he dies. It's kind of ridiculous, because the most important asset to them is Merlin, because he's the one person who's ever defeated Morgana, and it's pretty smart that now he can't defeat the main bad guy. Morgana's the main bad guy, but we'll talk about her later. So it's pretty funny that they just can't do anything, and they just have to hope they can win because Merlin's gone. 2, Dukesy. He's not that important in this season. He's in like 1 episode, and he's in the Battle of the Bands part, and that's it. He's not that interesting. He's just an Aussie. That's his entire personality, because he gets more fleshed out in Wizards, I promise. Then there's the weird people, which are actually Krell and Aja from 3 Below. They're pretty funny in this, just because you don't know that they're aliens. So the episode with them is pretty freaking funny. Yeah, let's just keep going. So there's these 2 episodes in the middle of the season called Just Add Water and Creep Slayers. So Just Add Water is where there's this school assignment where they have to parent a bag of flour, which is very strange. And they also have to stop this weird goo monster. And the way they do it is they have to sacrifice the flour bags to win. And yeah, that episode's okay. But the next episode is the same episode, but from the perspective of Steve Palchuk and Pepperjack. I don't know that kid's first name. I think it's actually Pepperjack. Anyway, they forms creep slayers. For basically the whole of this show, they've been building up these two as, they know that there's weird stuff going on. But they finally meet some point in season 2, and finally in this episode they form creep slayers, which is the funniest crap you've ever seen. And there's a lot of instances in the previous episode that don't make much sense until you watch this episode. It's just chaos. It is nothing but chaos. And the funniest part is that they think that the bad guy is Jim. They think Jim is the bad guy. So they literally spend the whole time trying to stop Jim from doing something good. Just watch this episode. I don't have much to say about it except go watch it. It's my favorite. You have to watch Just That Water, and then you have to watch Creep Slayers, and it's hilarious. Villains! Yeah, so these are villains in this show aren't that interesting at this point. So Gunmar's pretty cool. He's okay. He's just powerful, and he doesn't have much personality. But he's better than one of the other villains. Then there's Morgana, who I'm going to actually talk about. She's more interesting in Wizards because they actually kind of give her a personality. But in this show, she's just evil. That's her personality, is she's evil, and she doesn't like Merlin. That's her two character traits. And it's pretty stupid, but at least she's a good threat, so she gets a pass. But the best villain between these two seasons, Mark Hamill. Yeah, Dictatious is awesome. He is hilarious. Anger Rod is my favorite villain, but Dictatious is the funniest villain. He is funnier than Not Enrique. He is really just a crazy person. That is his entire personality, is that he is a crazy person. And that is basically all he does, is just crazy crap. He's blind, and he does crazy crap. So kind of like Toph, but a bad guy. Guys, can we do something? Can we do a version of Avatar The Last Airbender where Toph, the Melon Lord, is the bad guy? Thank you. Just make that happen, please. I want to see that. It's interesting, and it's a really nice ending to this series. I just wish it had been the ending. So next time we're talking about 3 Below, which I'll have a lot more to say about. This video, I didn't have much to say because, again, Trollhunters is that kind of good where there's not much that you can say that's like, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And there's not much to say that will make it seem bad. So, after this, it starts to get rocky. Next time we're talking about 3 Below. Thank you for watching. Check out my podcast. Subscribe, like, do whatever you want. See you next time.